What is up, you beautiful people? How's your day been so far? Talk to me down in the comments. Let's start off this one right and have fun, my guys. That's what my videos are all about. And for this one, we go back to the classics, a Darth Vader life story, which gives you a glimpse at his miserable life, kinda. Let's start with this video. So for a lot of things, we need to go back in time or forward, but for this video, I encourage everyone to take a trip with me into both the past and the present, because both are intertwined, of course, and Vader's example is no different. Let's step into Vader's life for a bit to understand his growing hate and frustration. He started with a numbing pain deep in his soul. His wife was dead. His child was dead. Everything he knew and loved were gone. The life he chose destroyed the life he once had. Now, let's take a look at what happens next. In every canon comic so far, Vader is struggling very hard to forget his past. Padme is constantly in his mind, and while meditating, he feels the tug of the light almost every time. How was he able to get over it to some degree? Well, he concentrated his efforts completely on the Empire's expansion, executing the wishes of his master, and for a long time that's what got him through. In the comics, we see him now trying to forget his past by constantly staying busy, going on missions, hunting down the Jedi, and trying to feed his ego as much as possible without thinking about, well, his wife. He tried to move on any way he could. To some extent, we start to see that he had moved on once we see him in Rogue One years later. He appeared very official there and not emotional at all. Then moving on to A New Hope, he is almost completely gone, and the one hint of Anakin that we see is him reuniting with Obi-Wan again, his obsession with revenge and killing his former master. However, and here is the real dark truth, once Vader finds out he has a son, everything he strived to forget for years, for decades, was flooded back into his life. In the beginning, he was ambitious. We saw that in a video I made a week ago. I showed you guys his newfound ambitions of capturing the Empire for himself, dethroning the Emperor with the help of his son. But the sad truth is that once his son refused and basically chose death instead of surrendering to Vader, once that happened, I firmly believe that Vader hated his life all over again. He was stuck. He had a son that won't help him become the Emperor and destroy Palpatine. On the other side, Palpatine did not value Vader the way he did before, and not to mention tried to replace Vader with Luke. That's why they fought in the end, of course. Honestly, you can pretty much make the case that he hated Luke, especially once Vader realized that he won't help him dethrone Palpatine. This is kind of confirmed in the book Return of the Jedi, Beware the Power of the Dark Side. It's a canon book, by the way, so in there it hints at Vader's frustration and him getting reminded of Padme and his former life every time he would think of Luke or talk about him. In fact, Luke became his nightmare. He reminded Vader of everything he spent decades trying to forget. Padme was back tormenting him, but now in a new form, in the form of their son, Luke Skywalker. In the end, I really believe that this frustration and hatred that Vader had found again transformed into love, into light. The light side was tugging at him, and his son serving as a reminder of everything he used to love. That's what made him save Luke, save Anakin, save Padme. That's what his son represented in the end, and I'm glad to see that Vader came to his senses, although, as I mentioned at the beginning of Return of the Jedi, during that timeline, Vader wasn't looking forward to meeting Luke again or talking about his son anymore. His past was too haunting, and he fought for 20 years in order to forget everything about his past. But that's it for today, guys. What are your thoughts on this? I would love to hear from you. Don't forget, if you enjoyed, leave a thumbs up down below and hit that bell to get notified the moment a new video is up. Have an awesome day, my Star Wars friends, and may the Force be with you always.